You cannot leave the van. You hear me?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I shouldn't have left you.
No. I'm sorry.
Well, Grandma, what did you think of Midnight Special, which is a sort of low budget but high style, high quality
Science
fiction film about a special boy with special powers who the government is trying to capture, and his mother and father are trying to save from them. What did you think of the film?
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I followed every step of the way. Their difficulty and each problem that they faced and how they managed to overcome it.
Well, again, it was from the very beginning a bit of a mystery as to, and the parents didn't know either.
No.
What is with this boy? Why is he the way he is? Why does he have these powers?
And the father knew a little bit about how dangerous to the boy these powers were turning out to be. And his whole mission was to protect, to save his son, to make sure that he was okay.
Again, one thing that they make pretty clear is that, again, the parents have been with him, the father most of all, for the boy's 8 years, all along. There are different groups of people that know some of what he's like, but they know him best
and have experienced.
Yes, but they know him best. That's and true. They're again trying to protect him from basically the people who don't know that much and who are just scared of him, sort of.
He has special powers that are very scary.
Yes.
He seems comfortable with them, so he's not scared by his
He's
own
lived
powers.
with them his whole life,
yeah,
so
he's not scared. He knows what's good. As the story develops, he lets his father in on more and more of the secrets.
Well, as he's understanding them himself.
He shares it with his father, and the father, even though it scares him, goes along with what the boy says. And as that happens, he realizes the boy knows what he's talking about. You know, if he tells me this, this, and this, I'm going to do what he asks to do. The acting was really good. I don't know who the young boy was, but he handled himself quite well in the role.
He was good.
As far as special effects, there weren't a whole lot of special effects in the film other than the powers.
Well, again, the science fiction was mainly the story. It was not even really the boy's special powers. You needed to know that he had special powers. You needed to know that they were dangerous. But you didn't need a lot of evidence about what he could do. He didn't need to be hurting people. He didn't need to be destroying things, although he did, some of that. But that wasn't really the focus of the story. The focus of the story was really very much, again, the family and their struggle to try and preserve their family without breaking it apart, without losing the boy through who knows what reason or means. That's really what the focus of the story was. My opinion of it is that I don't know. I have a hard time recommending it, and I have a hard time not recommending it because through much of the film, I was very, very impressed by the story and the acting and
The complexity of it.
and
You had to pay attention to see, you know.
and the directing. Again,
Incrementally.
the director was doing I think a very good job. In the middle there, it got a little muddled. I thought there was a little bit too much of people standing around and talking about, you know, their difficulty of their situation and stuff like that. There wasn't a whole lot going on, and they needed to have, I think, made that a little more interesting, perhaps. My big problem, and we won't go too much into the specifics of it, was the ending. I didn't like the ending at all. I mean, I think as you were pointing out, sort of wondering how in the world did all of this come to be, and how are they going to end it?
Right.
And the ending they came up with
Wasn't satisfying.
well, again, the actual facts of the matter is probably fine. Again, explaining how this boy came to be and why he was there and all that sort of thing, and what, you know, that's fine. But the way they showed it, the way they did it, I just thought was not good at all.
Unnecessary.
So, well, possibly. Again, I don't think that they needed to go to the extent that show things to the extent that they did. They could have, I think you're right, stayed to a large degree with the sort of low budget, sort of high thought, perhaps,
Right.
way of doing the movie, making the movie, that they had done through the whole thing. To suddenly come up with sort of a lot of sort of special effects and things like that at the end that really I don't think worked.
Wasn't necessary at all.
It wasn't necessary at all, really. And again, so while for the majority of the movie I was very impressed with it and really thought, again, this is something that, you know, people should know about. This movie is just so interesting, and the thought that went into it and the skill of the director and everything was all very good. And then to have it, I think, all fall to pieces at the end there, I didn't like that at all. But so again, I have a hard time recommending it, but I have a hard time not recommending it. So I don't know quite what to say. I don't know about what your thumbs think. What do your thumbs think?
Well, one of the things I enjoyed about it at the beginning was it was set in Texas. You know, it started out in Texas, in San Angelo. I was tuned in.
Okay.
They were on the ranch in Texas, and I understand your quibble, your objections.
It's not a quibble. I mean, that's a quibble would be a little.
Your objection to the way.
My objection would be better. Yes.
The way that the filmmakers decided to end it. I agree with that. I think that was totally unnecessary to the quality of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I give it thumbs up. Sounds to me like you're doing a sideways. Not done,
sort of a
not
sideways,
down,
yeah.
Not up, but sideways.
I mean, if people want to see a really interesting movie, this is a really interesting movie.
It is.
But is it a really good movie? I wouldn't call it a really good movie, but it was a really interesting movie.
Interesting premise, well acted,
Yes.
and
everybody was working really hard at it, but
Yes, they were.
But again, they just sort of failed themselves there at the end for some reason.
so I do thumbs up.
One thumb at least.
Brian does one thumb up.
Okay.
Brian does a sideways and a legitimate sideways.
Okay.